up? Gamertag here, and today I wanted to give my feedback on the Titanfall 2 multiplayer tech test. Now first things first, the game ran perfectly smoothly. As a tech test, it definitely proved what it needed to. The game ran fine, I had very little lag spikes, there were no frame drops in my personal experience, and all the animations and general gameplay felt smooth and fluid. Nothing really seemed to go wrong. All the animations felt fine, although I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a Family Guy reference, but I cannot understand why you would ever want to hold your gun like this. I think Stewie Griffin must have had some input on this particular part of the game. But overall, I did actually have a pretty good experience with this game. However, there were definitely some things from my game time that definitely highlighted potential problems for the full game. One of those being with the movement mechanics themselves. Now I'll admit, by the time it got to Sunday, I was actually really liking it. I had really enjoyed playing it, and I definitely got much more used to the movement. But it doesn't take away from the fact that the way the movement works, it sometimes feels like it's trying to predict what you are going to do. It's trying to guess what you're trying to do, but it never seems to guess right. And especially with just trying to mantle over a small object, it is really derpy. For instance, you'll just want to try and mantle over a tiny little wall, and what will happen is if you go at it at any angle other than a right angle, you will end up just wall running across it, and it gets really annoying when you're just trying to run away from someone. You just need to hop over this like 2-foot wall, and you just end up wall running sideways across the map, and it's like, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Stop trying to guess at what I'm trying to do. And in some ways the movement can feel a little bit choppy. I found moments where I try and slide and I'd immediately and very abruptly stop. And I don't know, this could have been a little bit of lag in the game, I'm not really sure, but it just didn't quite feel right. It didn't feel intuitive sometimes, and a lot of the time it did lead to some slightly frustrating moments. However, when it came to the gunplay and the shooting mechanics of the game, that was all really good. The gunplay felt really cool, and the animations were absolutely fine in my opinion. They definitely made it a very cool feeling game. And I will admit, I had some really cool moments in this game. When you suddenly get a random triple kill, or just you go on a nice streak, it does feel rewarding and it does feel absolutely awesome. The animations do suit it very well, and also you use your equipment very quickly. You're very unlikely to get killed whilst throwing a grenade because you throw them so quickly. And it is definitely a very satisfying game to play when you're just analysing the shooter component. However, there are some things that do worry me for the full game. Namely that I do feel that it's going to, just like the original, turn into a game where certain things are the only things that get used. So for instance, the Car SMG and the R201C carbine, those are probably going to be the most used weapons because they are the most mobile. This is an extremely mobile game, so using any guns that have low mobility doesn't make sense. Yeah, you will find snipers here and there, but most of the time those are the two guns you're going to be coming across. I'll admit there were still 3 weapons I never got to try because I never got enough credits to unlock them. But overall, those were the 2 weapons I saw the most. It was possible to use the LMG or the sniper rifle, but you very rarely saw them because the higher mobility weapons were absolute king in this game, because the more mobile you are, the more likely you're going to do well in this game. I also found the problem that some of the equipment was just far better than the others, especially the pulse blade. Essentially what this does is this gives you a pulsing wall hack. You can see the enemies through walls. Once you've got this, there's no point in using anything else. Yeah, the stim ability could be absolutely awesome if you used it right, and the grappling hook ability is very useful for rodeoing titans or getting out of gravity stars. But there's so many times in the game where you're using it and you think, yeah, this ability is really useful, but it's not a wall hack. The one analogy I can make for this is if you're doing an exam and you're given one joker or one wild card essentially, you can either write quicker, you can read multiple questions at a time, or you can just have the answer to one of the questions. Everyone's going to take having the answer. More information is always key, and if you can have more information than your enemies, it's always going to be chosen over anything else. It will be dominant. And it does get really annoying when you're just trying to go on a really long flank and then suddenly, boom, you've got hit by the sonar. Boom, you get hit by another sonar. You just constantly find this. You'll just get hit by multiple sonar, and it just gets really annoying because you know you can't go on that flank anymore because they know exactly where you are. I really think this ability needs to be changed. One way I thought would be useful to nerf it is firstly make the blade a lot easier to see and destroy, because you can destroy it, but I've never worked out where it is or what it even looks like. It's extremely difficult to actually find it to be able to destroy it. Or they could just make it so the fact that when you throw it, it only pulses out once. So it doesn't mean you only use it once a game, it means once you've thrown it, it will only pulse out the one time. You will only get one bit of information from this equipment. And it means that way you have to only use it when you need a quick bit of information. You need that one quick burst to work out where people are. You can't just rely on it as a crutch. I really feel that would be a better way of going about this sonar blade ability. Also, the kill report perk is pretty much useless. What is the point in knowing where your enemies died? The only reason I could see to possibly use this perk is if you just want to do pinpoint precision teabagging. Other than that, this perk is almost completely useless. And this is the problem I'm seeing. It's sort of a trend that's coming in this game, is that there are some things that are just far better than others, and it seems pointless to use anything else. In this particular tech test, Ion was far better than Scorch, just because he can output damage so much quicker against Titans. Scorch might be a better anti-pilot Titan, but often by the time you've got your Titan in, other enemies are starting to also call in their Titans, so Scorch definitely doesn't feel as powerful as Ion. I also found with the amped hardpoint mode that actually amping the points doesn't really fit the game very well. Essentially what this means is you sit on the point for a bit longer, you amp it, and it means your team earn points a lot quicker. You get a little bit more completion towards your Titan building, but other than that it just gives your team more points. However, you have to stay on the point to keep the point amped. This basically leads to a very defensive and campy playstyle, which really doesn't suit Titanfall. That is not what Titanfall is about. It doesn't fit the game, and it just seems kind of ultimately pointless. It's useful if you're getting spawn trapped and the other team have 2 flags. It means you might still have a chance against them. But other than that, the actual amping mechanic doesn't seem to quite fit the game, because the game is a very high mobility game, and this is a very defensive, strategical move. And one more detail that I did find really irritating was, I noticed this especially on the map Boomtown, was there are these small orange dots on the radar. Now normally this wouldn't be a problem, however all the indicators which tell you where enemies are the exact same colour of orange, and the exact same shade, which means when you start playing the game it's really confusing. You actually think it's an enemy there, or it's some indicator telling you there's someone there, but actually it's just a little orange dot on the minimap that's just there for decoration. I really think this needs to be looked into, because it does get very annoying for a more skilled player, because you look at the radar, you see, oh, there's something orange, and then you quickly look that way, but actually the enemies are behind you because that was just a random orange dot. It definitely did get a little bit annoying to me. But I will say overall that actually my criticisms of the game are very fine detailed points. They're not something that I think are particularly game breaking for the game. I would say that actually overall, for what the tech test was supposed to be, it succeeded. The game plays well, and it definitely coped with the server stress. I've never had problems connecting to the servers. I've very rarely had any lag issues, so overall I would say the tech test was a success. But I do have some concerns for the full game. But I did also have a lot of fun with this game. It definitely does feel really rewarding and satisfying to play, and I did really enjoy it. Did any of you get to play this? It was definitely a good bit of fun for me, but what were your experiences? For those of you who are interested in trying out Titanfall 2 before it comes out, there will be another tech test this weekend coming. So that will be from the 26th of August to the 29th. So if you really want to try out Titanfall 2, that would be a good way to do it. You go into in-game store, type in Titanfall 2, and it should have an option for multiplayer tech test. You can download it for free. You don't need to pre-order the game or anything, as far as I'm concerned, because that's how this first one worked. And then you can just try out Titanfall 2 before release and form your own opinions on the game. It's definitely a lot of fun. I've had a bit of fun with it. Would I actually buy the game? I'm not sure. It's not that there's anything particularly wrong with the game. It was very fun to play and satisfying, but futuristic settings don't quite do it for me. I'm definitely torn as to whether I would think about buying this game, mostly because I'm about to become a student, but overall it definitely was very fun to play. But I do hope you've enjoyed. This has been the guy from the Gamertag, and I'll see you on another video.